Item 22, 2011 Heritage Project, request to modify Heritage Project action. Everybody get a email on that? Flip that page here. Well, here's the next printout of it. It was the email sent out Wednesday, whatever. There's 3 pages. Basically appeared to be Did we happen to have printouts of this for the commission? No. It was stapled on the back, which you gave us yesterday. I had a copy extra, so. Here's another one. So I had one, and then the one she sent yesterday. So, should help out anybody else there? Everybody got it down that direction? They found it? Okay. Appeared to be substantially similar to previous project, or maybe I should avoid utilizing legal terms before I even look to the left, because I know that'd be the first thing. It appears to be similar to previous project. There are some differences. The money is the same. It's a study of the effects of lions. Proposed project be, just for the audience, you don't happen to have a copy. Proposed project be an effort, let's see, to reduce number of lions in the above mentioned mountain ranges, in accordance with policies of Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners. It is project is, let's see, basically a study. I don't know if I want to read the whole thing here. And yeah, if you'd like to summarize it.
I looked this over, and just to summarize, the differences are before Mr. What's his name? Stremler was just going to take 10 lions out of this area because he assumed that would cause a beneficial effect to wildlife in the area. Now what he's proposing to do is he's going to take 10 lions. He estimates his costs that it's going to cost him to do this at $1,800 per lion, and he's going to do, he ranches in the area, so he'll be a 24-hour on-the-ground observations and observe the effects on wildlife for 3 years of this taking out these lions, and then provide a report to the commission and the department. It will be a lay report, but it's a study or the effects of lion removal in those mountain ranges.
It looks like a Mr. Floyd Rathbun, certified range management consultant, will be assisting in this process. You'll provide GPS locations, observations, gender, apparent body condition, stomach contents. And it goes on. Yes, go ahead. Mr. Lamp.
We approved this project, but then there were some reservations about it, and from what I remember from the discussion, this letter sort of answers all the problems that we had with that was addressed with the original one, and it looks like he's got a hypothesis here, and he's going to provide some data. It sort of looks like a study that we could maybe get some information out. So I think this is a little bit better proposal than what we've already approved. And so I would consider that this amended version was even better than the original one. Thank you.
Let's move on to public comment on this item first.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I, from the department perspective, still have some concerns as to whether or not this application meets the requirements of NAC 501-300. I don't know if I have the full application. I have what appears to be a 3-page letter. I don't see a map, which is required by 501-300. There are other items that are required by 501-300 that I also don't see. Again, I don't know if I have the full submission. I don't see a legal description of the property, a breakdown of costs and documentation of all hours to be worked. So I'm still not sure that this meets the requirements of 501-300.
Thank you. We have here Karen Lane. Yes, comment.
Karen Lane, Las Vegas Valley Humane Society. I'm just curious from the research standpoint, there are several comments that are made here. Currently, the mountain lion numbers exceed what is appropriate for the prey base. My understanding is we don't really have good numbers for most of the areas that it's mostly anecdotal information that we have. He also says the mountain lion population needs to be reduced. We don't know what that reduction is. And then he said this proposal is intended as a supplement to the existing contractual predator control and not a replacement of it. Are you going to create a duplicate effort in this area? And, my concern would be how many lions are actually going to be killed in this area if we don't have a good indication of how much the problem is out there right now. So if I look at this in terms of looking at it from a research standpoint, I'm not sure that you've got the data or a supposition that you need to begin with to talk about whether or not you can actually prove that a reduction has been made or not been made. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else this item written down? Well, we've got a couple. Go
Paul
ahead.
Dixon. What's that?
Yeah, he had card. Go ahead, Mr. Dixon, and then followed by George Corner, and we'll see if anybody else had a card here.
Paul Dixon, Clark County. I have a question for Dag Stockton, in that this information came out Friday night to the public. And are we meeting open meeting law by discussing this here today when it was not properly noticed to the public and none of the cabs could have responded to this, and it's a significantly different proposal?
Make sure you address it through the chair to Mr. Stockton. It's appropriate decorum.
Then I'll address to you, Chairman Raines, the exact same questions to get a response from
Thank
Dag
you.
Stockton.
Let me see if he'd like to comment.
My understanding, and maybe David can correct me if I'm wrong, the public notice is what's to be discussed, and the public notice was out there that we were going to discuss these changes. The specifics, they did change, but things change all the time. And so I think we're in compliance with the open meeting law, but maybe I'll have to check, and we should delay a vote on this until I can check. But it's my understanding that as long as the public has fair notice of what's going to be discussed, and this project has been out there, I mean, it's a little changed, but it's not so different that I don't think that the public did not have a chance to know what was going to be discussed today.
And
So
I guess
that's my opinion.
Okay.
my
I
point
could be
comes,
wrong. What do you think, Dave?
Mr.
Through Chairman Raines to
Newton.
Mr. Newton.
Well, I agree that there's not a problem with the open meeting law because it doesn't affect what's on the agenda unless there was a request for agenda support material, and that support material was not available, and I don't know whether such a request was made. That would create a problem, in my view, with the open meeting law. The second concern I have is the commission's own policies and requirements regarding sending information out to the various cabs and then to allow them to make comment. It sounds to me, at least in one instance, that that information was not forwarded to the cabs in a timely fashion so that they could express their opinion regarding the subject to the commission.
Okay, public comment for the public comment, and we'll come back to the commission when we're done here. Mr. Corner.
George Corner, representing Nevada Outfitters and Guides Association. I put a question mark on the card I turned in because I had no information on this. It wasn't discussed at the Elko County CAB meeting or any other CAB meetings I was at. But the Nevada Outfitters and Guides Association would have the same objections to this project that we pointed out the first go-around. This is an attempt to kill lions through a bounty system, and you can shake your head, debate all you want, that's what it is. And Commissioner Lent pointed out that it sort of looks like a study. That sort of looks like a bounty program to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Had one more, okay, and then we'll come back to the commission.
Rex Flowers, Washoe County.
Okay, we'll have,
We didn't have support material. We did take a vote on it anyway. We felt the first go-around, we did not support this heritage project. We felt whatever came back was probably going to still be a form of a bounty or a privatized type hunt, and we voted against it. Thank you.
thank you. All right, any other from the public? Okay, so we'll close public hearing, let's go back. Let's start here with Mr. Pearl, and then we'll go down to Mr. Macbeth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I looked at the minutes and the agendas for virtually all of the cabs that Suzanne graciously sends out, and it was on virtually every one of those agendas. So if you didn't see it on the Elko one, I have no idea. I recall seeing it on there, but fact of the matter is that several of the cabs had it on there, so they were aware of it. Secondly, the date on this was August 28th. Now, when you got it, I have no idea. But I can tell you this, I had it before the 3-day notifications and was well aware that there were changes being proposed. So if anybody wants to claim about open meeting violations, there is none in this case here. Thank you.
All right, we had Mr. Macbeth, and then Mr. Lent. Mr. Macbeth, what you have?
In addition to my continuing concerns about amending heritage projects and whether we have authority to even vote on them, and the fact that this amendment, a very substantial amendment, in my mind, is a tacit admission that the original application was deficient, and goes right along with Mr. Newton's comments on the deficiencies that are apparent from 501-300. So I've already made that. I'm going to abstain from voting on this in the same fashion I have before, but I'm now seeing, and I want to pose this question because I'm now seeing a very big issue in my mind, and that is, by statute, the Department of Wildlife has been delegated authority over Nevada wildlife for the, for the management and propagation of Nevada wildlife. That is their jurisdiction over wildlife, and when we get a project like this, where a proponent who is not a wildlife, it doesn't have anything to do with the Department of Wildlife, and is in effect here a rancher, then goes out and gets some consultant to say, what is or what is not from a biological standpoint. That now we have individuals outside of the Department of Wildlife making these decisions. They aren't statutorily authorized to do that, in my mind. I do not see how any group like this could possibly put forth a project that deals with biological issues of how many mountain lions there are, what the impact's going to be on a particular ungulate herd that's in the area, all of these things. One question I have, did Mr. Stimler or did Mr. Rathbun even contact the Nevada Department of Wildlife to get any kind of input or get any kind of data, to get any assistance, for this project? I want to ask that question right now.
You have a response?
I don't believe so. We could check with the field, but I'm almost confident there was no communication between the project proponent and the department. In fact, we didn't receive the updated information from Mr. Stremler till this last week. We believe it was I think we talked on Thursday, but it could have been Wednesday.
Okay, I see an inherent conflict. I realize that we have a statute that says heritage projects can have predator management programs. But when a predator management program also goes to the very heart of the purpose of NDOW in managing wildlife, and this project comes forward, I see an unwarranted delegation of this to third parties. I just don't see how it's possible that we can do these things, absent regulations that actually bring the department into the process. That's my comment.
Thank you. We had Mr. Lamb.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think this is addressing an omission in this proposal. People amend proposals all the time if they can improve them. And so I don't think this is an omission. The first one had any deficiencies in. I think it just amended, if you can make it better. I mean, that happens in every contract I've ever seen. And support material for the cabs out there, support material is not mandated to be available on every agenda item. We do have agenda items with no support material. And new support material comes to us, and it comes to any board at the last minute. And somebody will come up and they'll give us support material that you haven't seen, we haven't seen at the last minute, and we take it into consideration. That's why it's on the agenda, and there are some things that somebody from the public might bring up, Humane Society bring up that might influence our decision that you haven't seen. And so that's why you have to attend the meetings. And it's the same as a cab. The cab materials come to me a day before the commission, and we don't have time to even look at them, and there's some probably sitting on my computer, so I don't get all the cab stuff in advance where I can look at it to make an intelligent decision, because it's probably sitting on my computer. So people bring support material at the last minute, and I think they're entitled to do it. And that's why you come here, and it's the agenda item gets on the agenda, and it tells you what it's going to be, and it's not an open meeting violation if we get support material at the last minute. And somebody in the audience can bring it to us. And that's what happened to this one. And this was dated August 28th. I don't know when I got it. But you might not have, all the boards might not have all support material. That's why we want you to come to the meetings and hear what we get at the last minute. And people walk in with support material and hand it to us when they testify. And you guys don't have it ahead of time, and it might change your vote completely.
Okay. All right, let me make a brief thing on this. My understanding is this, when I first saw this was Wednesday, which, if we would have seen it this morning, right now, I think is my understanding, that's happened on many, many dozens, hundreds of agenda items. Things are shown up here as support material. I don't think that's even an issue. Okay, let's see, we had one, Mr. Howell, and then we had two comments down here on the
Thank you,
other side.
Mr. Chairman. Every year, we have what we call an objective harvest for mountain lions. And every year, we're way below that number. And this number comes out from NDOW, which we approved. And it would seem to me this is a perfect example of an area where we can reach our objective harvest every year. Thank you.
All right, let's go down with Mr. Wallace, and then we had Mr. Vogler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to let everybody know also, this is addressed to the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners dated August 28, 2010. Yet yesterday, on the desk when I got here was this stapled together. So we're looking at almost a month since the date of the letter to the time I get it the day of our meeting. So I can see where there's issues out there, because I have an issue with it as well. If this was dated August 28th, to me, a slow response I should have had this 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if the department has had it, and I just haven't got it, or where it's been running around. But I can see where there's an issue, because I haven't had it for 24 hours hardly, and it's dated almost a month ago.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Just to clear up one
Mr.
issue
Newton?
on that front on behalf of the department, that letter was received by the department this week, as late as Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So I don't know what the delay was from the August 28th date on the letter to this week, but the department didn't receive it until Wednesday or Thursday of this week. And it was emailed out to the commissioners, I believe, on the same day the department received it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we had Mr. Vogler.
My question is, we have a whole bunch of people in the state that want to help wildlife. And there always has to be a balance between predator and prey. But as we discussed yesterday, there are areas in the state that the guides associations don't want to go into because many of their clients are not physically capable of going in those areas. And so they tend to hunt where they have a road where they can pick up a track in the snow and other reasons that they avoid areas. There are many people who have hounds that don't like to hunt in our Nelson Desert Bighorn areas. The reason being that it's very physical demanding in the hot weather on their dogs. Their dogs are very expensive. And this is a tool. This is a volunteer in a way that wants to do something. He's not taking out the deer herd. He's wanting to to supplement the deer herd by removing some predators. It's no different than last weekend. I believe they had a program of hunting predators, coyote calling contest in Ely. The person who won it took in 14, other people took in 12. These are people that are hunters and sportsmen that are as frustrated as I am as we continue to do the same things over and over again and the results don't change. There's a frustration out there that is terrific. And I don't think this is an impediment to the hunters of lions or anything else. This is somebody who wants to try something different. And maybe it doesn't rise to the level of Columbus, but he wants to, we've made the Nelson Desert Bighorn sheep the most expensive cat food in the world and taken out some predators. I would like to see this type of a program expanded to Mount Moriah. Nobody hunts Mount Moriah. There's Rocky Mountains up there. Nobody hunts it because it's too tough. You can't, the guides don't like to go up there. There's no roads. I mean, but if somebody wanted to take that on as a heritage project, God bless them. If somebody wanted to go to the Delamars where we have pictures of 3 lions, I mean, every blind hunter, every hunters all over this state with bow and arrow in their little blinds are taking pictures of lion after lion after lion coming in. I don't know, gee, maybe we have a few too many. Maybe they are secretive enough where they're a little hard to count them all and earmark them. But for goodness sakes, they do exist, and if somebody wants to help us and he doesn't quite have 4 degrees in biology, oh well, what a bummer. Thank you.
All right, I think we had something from Mr. Cavan, and then Mr. Capurro, and hopefully we're running down on this item.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Partly on my own fault, I didn't see this information until this morning. It was in my packet from yesterday, but I did not go through that thoroughly, and so that is my own fault. But I do not think that we should have received this yesterday. If in fact the proponent was, had this ready August 28th, we should have seen it. And I would, I'm not going to vote in favor of this unless it's a motion to table. And I just think we either need more time, let it go out to the cabs, or I don't think we should abstain from these things. We have to take a stand one way or the other and be on the record. So I don't like a vote to against because but that's where I have to be on this one unless we fully vet this thing through the cabs.
All right.
Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Just if I could clarify that, I had been contacted to put this item on the agenda, spoke to individual. My understanding is that he had not finalized it until later. The reason for the August 28th date, maybe that was his first draft. I don't know what his, I'm not sure of the whole process. But nonetheless, he got the final draft as it appears for us today. I got it, sent email moments before I sent it to Suzanne. Suzanne sent it out within a very timely fashion, email-wise. So that's, I'm sure he must have had issues. I don't know what his issues were. Anyways, well, let's move on okay, we had one more comment from a commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll try to keep this brief. But I would like to commend to you the chance to read the Heritage Project proposal timelines as submitted by Gabe Pincolini. And it is an excellent outline of what the law says, and the law says, the Wildlife Heritage Trust account is authorized by NRS 501-3575, and it is administered by the Board of Wildlife Commissioners. The money in the account must be used for the protection, propagation, restoration, transplantation, introduction, and management of any game fish, game mammal, game bird, or fur-bearing mammal, and the management and control of predatory wildlife in this state. That's what the law states. Eligibility. Project proposals will be accepted from the Department of Wildlife, county advisory boards, and other state and federal agencies, citizens, organizations, and private individuals. Couldn't be more plain than that. It is not just a department situation. It is not just wildlife services. If somebody comes in with a decent project that meets the criteria that's set forth in this document and one for contract for services, and this board takes action on it, then I think that's the end of the question. We are the ones that administer this fund. And you may not agree with every project that comes in, but if it meets the criteria set forth by the law, then so be it. Thank you.
All right, it's an action item. We're ready for a motion on the subject. Everybody's had a chance to speak.
Mr. Chairman,
What you got?
I'd like to make a motion to table this item until a future commission meeting.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded, to table this item to future commission meeting. Any further discussion on that subject?
I'll be voting against that because I think they've had a
Oh, and push into speak into the thing, I don't know if people can hear you. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I don't think they could hear you.
I think we've had adequate time to look at it, and all spore material gets handed us, and that means we gotta have spore material to the calves before they have their cab meeting, and that's impossible to have all spore material to the calves before the time, and I think that we got a good proposal here, so I'll be voting against the motion.
Any other discussion on the motion? Everybody understand the motion? All in favor of tabling this item till a future meeting, signify by, let's do a show of hands, signify by raising your hand. Okay, we have 3, all opposed? Okay, motion fails. We had 5 opposed, 3 in favor. Did you gather the names? Thank you. All right, waiting on a motion. Yes, Mr. Howell.
Are you ready for another motion?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the request to modify Heritage Project 1117.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the modification to the project as presented. Does everybody understand the motion? Any further comments on the motion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Oh, should we do this
And
by?
I'll be abstaining again for the reason that, one, I believe that I question our authority to amend a heritage project that does not go up to rebid to all participants in the heritage project. And 2, I still feel that even as presented at this meeting, this project still does not meet the requirements of NAC 501-300, and therefore is illegal. And so we are voting on basically,
Okay.
you know, an illegal project, and I will abstain for those
So we have
reasons.
5 in favor. We have 2 opposed, Mr. Cavan, Mr. Wallace, and 1 abstention. You got that? Not at this time. All right, we are